How do I make my judgment? I was sitting when I was talking with the Lord, and I had to do something last night. God said, go ahead and figure up something. And I remember there was a time when I had called, I think I called Betty into the room, and I said, hey. She said, what is it? I said, God's talking to me. And she said, about what? I said, how we vote, what we do, what we look at. And I went back and I pulled it up, and it was in, I think it was 2004. That was when God was sharing that with me. And the reason he was sharing that with me, because when I would always go to the polls and vote, y'all know us, you're supposed to. You don't even think about it. You just go in there and you say, hey, I'm a Democrat. Boop, boop. We didn't ever even look at who was running. We never looked at who was running because that was told to us. We never even looked at it. We just went into the booth and we did it. And that's why I brought that up with Pastor Fred Vehe. He kept saying pray. He didn't come out here and make an issue about politics or nothing, but the only thing he would say, he said, you got to be praying. You got to pray. You got to pray. And we started praying, and I remember it was one night God came and he spoke to me, and he said, Larry, he said, this is what's going on. And I was like, what? And he said, you're going to be responsible for how you choose and how you decide on things. He said, you need to look at the individuals and look at their reputation, look at their moral standards, look at the things that they're pushing. He said, because if you don't, you are pushing things that I'm against. And I shared that with Betty back in 2000. Well, it had to be 2003 before 2004, because 2004 was when the election was coming in. And from that point on, I told her that, I said, honey, every year, I said, we got to be praying about this, and we got to keep up with whose agenda, what they're doing, what they're saying, what they want to try to push. I said, we got to do it. I said, because God spoke to me and said, I'm responsible. I'm responsible for if I okay this and if I okay that. And so as we did that, we would always go and we'd pull up all the candidates, and we'd be trying to keep up with it even before up until that day. And that was how we based our choice and our decision. If God didn't say that he liked this, then we didn't give that candidate our vote. If God said he was against abortion, we wasn't going to vote for it. If God said he was against homosexuality, lesbianism, we weren't going to vote for that. Whatever, if there were things in there that it said that God was against it, we were not going to give that person our support. If there was someone coming into town, even as a little smaller votes in the election, and there were people that were running for governors and senators, and they said they were pushing to get alcohol pushed into a community or to an area, they didn't get our vote. Because, see, God looks at us as his people as far as to whether or not we allow things to go on. And so now this is where we're at in this day and time. And so as I was looking at that, I was like, wow. I said, even the elect, even a lot of the elect were caught up with the color issue, because they were saying, hey, we're going to have our first black this. We're going to have our first black this. We're going to have our first black this. Not looking at the character of the person. And I know somebody says, what is character really, Reverend Larry? Character is what you do when nobody else is looking at you. Because it's easy to do something and somebody's looking at you, or you're out in front. It's easy to do those things when you say, oh, somebody's looking at me. Or you go into an area, you look around. I don't see any cameras, because, you know, cameras are everywhere now. And you get into an area, you look around, you're like, oh, I don't see no cameras. And then you start doing something or acting in a certain way that you shouldn't be, because you said there was nothing there that could see me. And so character is how you behave and how you act when nobody is actually looking at you. When nobody else is around, what do? Are you doing the things that are pleasing in the Lord's sight? Is your spirit doing the same things that are pleasing in the Lord's sight? Or are you treating people in the way that's pleasing in the Lord's sight when nobody's looking at you? Or are you mishandling them? Are you giving people their respect? Or are you giving people their dues when nobody's looking at you. Or you become a different person when you get out in public because you say, somebody's looking at me, so I got to be on my P's and my Q's. I got to do this. I got to act this way.